Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Brainwashed book series. Today's guest is a really interesting person. He's traveling around the world by living his dream life. Basically, he's enjoying the way that entrepreneurship serves him, and I'm really pumped to have him here. Welcome to the show, Jameson Neilson-Watt.
Well, I appreciate you, Adam. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. And, let's jump right in. And I have a first question for you prepared. The first question is, in your area of expertise, what you can see the biggest brainwashing stories or like mistakes or anything that you can, that keeps people stuck basically.
Yeah, so the way I grew up, I think, is like a lot of people, and that is with parents who are trying to not only uh, figure out how to raise me well, how to take care of me and my brother, but also how to try to figure out life. Like we're
Mm,
not taught, most of us at least, are not taught that there is harder ways and easier ways of living life. There's harder ways and easier ways of being happy, relationships, health. And ultimately, I think that what it comes down to is too many of us are raised to believe that resources are scarce and
mhm,
that we don't have the power to go out and create whatever we want. Like it
mhm,
classically sounds like the rich person thing to say, which is like, you can have success, just go out and get it and make different choices and whatever.
mhm,
I grew up quite poor. My father left when I was young. I didn't have much positive male influence. My mum was working really hard to keep food on the table and to take care of her boys, and we weren't always easy. And what that led to was a lot of scarcity. It's like money's not
mhm,
available. It's hard to get. You've got to, you got to know people, or you got to be lucky. Timing's got to be right for things to work out. And
mhm,
what I realized when I got into business was that there are things that I can do that make it easier for me to make money, and there's things that I can do that
mhm,
make it harder. And I think it's the same thing with happiness, fulfillment. You talked about people being able to live their lives in different ways. I think we all
mhm,
need to master Tony Robbins calls it the science of success, but then there's also the art of fulfillment. And um, for me, at least, having gone through the full cycle of having no money, having money, being unhappy, and sort of circling around, when you don't have a lot of a resource, you often think, well, if I get that resource, I'll then be happy. It's like when I have money, I'll be happy. Or when I have money, I'll then be able to give and I'll be able to do stuff. The truth is, in my experience, that I've experienced the most amount of abundance when I'm not focused on what I don't have, but I'm focused on what I have. When I'm focused
mhm.
on the present and the future, not the past. And when I
Why is
focus
that?
on
Yeah,
things that I
why
have
is that?
control on. Because
Uh-huh. Why is that? Why?
because if you focus on what you don't have, you're always living in a state of scarcity. And a person who's
Mhm,
anxious about what they don't have and they're in scarcity isn't going to necessarily have the resources to go out there and push ahead. Like there's an element of I don't have enough, so I need to go and do something. But if you're always thinking you don't have enough, then you're never able to settle into a rhythm of going and getting things. It's like if I
mhm,
if I'm trying to make money and I'm chasing it, when I'm selling somebody, I'm having to convince myself along with them that I'm worthy of this, that I deserve this, that this is good, and that they want it. And I come across, um, we call it commission breath. It's like I need to get the
yeah.
sale
Okay.
because I got to get food or whatever. And
Mhm,
being hungry is good, metaphorically, but if you're always like that, then you're really going to miss out on a lot of opportunity because people don't want to work with people who make them uncomfortable.
that's
And I've had people
yeah.
like whether it's business partners in the past or colleagues or whatever, people trying to sell me stuff or trying to work with me, and it's like it just makes it so much harder. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like you can want for things, but you've also at the same time got to be completely grateful for what you've got and where you're at, so that you can have the inner resources necessary to keep going. Because if you never feel like you're fulfilled, you never feel like you're getting anywhere, then even if you do get it, you're not going to appreciate it. That's why there's so many successful people that kill themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Robin Williams, right? The guy who ran that, I forget his name. He ran the cooking show and traveled all over the world. Um,
Mm-hmm.
these people were doing it. They were taking care of everyone else but themselves, and
Mm-hmm.
they achieved all levels of success, but didn't achieve success internally. And I think that a lot of people suffer from that. It's like, my life will be happy when I get somewhere. But if you're already happy now and then you're going after it because you want to, like for me, life's pretty good. It wasn't always like that, but life's pretty good. But it's very easy for me to say, well, my car could be nicer, right? The places that I live in could be bigger. My wife could have nicer jewelry. And it's very easy to then fall into that trap of like, therefore I don't have enough. But
Mm-hmm.
that's not really going to help me actually achieve that success. I might make more money, but I'm going to be so unhappy. And I've had depression and anxiety for most of my life up until the last kind of uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
10 years or so. And the number one cause for that was scarcity, feeling like I didn't have enough. And so I go and do dumb shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are jumping into all kinds of crazy businesses and crazy opportunities because they think that it's like the way to make money. It's gambling. I'm going to
Yeah.
go and buy a whole lot of NFTs because this monkey picture is going to go to the moon, right? And then for some people it did and they managed to get out or whatever, but it's speculation. It's not a strategy. And you got to do, if you want to be successful, you've got to develop a strategy where you can consistently and predictably generate money or attention or whatever. You can't be doing crazy shit and thinking
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
actually a strategy.
Business has to be predictable and repeatable, because if you don't have, if you can predict or um yeah, if you can predict what is going to be happening, you are not in a business. Basically, you are just gambling, pretty much.
Mm.
That's like why so many people, I think, like you know they don't even, either they don't even hit the goal, and or if they hit some certain number they are going for the goal, they get back into the poverty very fast, also because they don't know what it actually causes, because they don't understand how it works. And
Yeah.
like, for you, when it comes to business, what is actually business for you? Like, what um yeah, when it comes to business, what is business for you? Like, how it works?
Business for me is kind of three things: the ability to take complex ideas and make them simple.
Mm-hmm.
Um, number two is value creation,
Mm-hmm.
and then number three is problem solving. So if I'm always thinking about how can I make this simpler,
Mm-hmm.
not only is it easier for me to get sales or results for my clients, but it's easy for me to help my team members. It's easier for me to hire. Everything is easier when I can make the complex thing simple.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that inherently is a part of value creation. So if I can create more value for you, then you will give me more value in exchange. Like, I'm in business to make money,
Yep.
um,
Yep.
and help people. Charities are in business to help people and then make money to allow them to help people, right? So they make money by
Mm-hmm.
selling t-shirts so they can put that money into their cause, or they make money by doing fundraising and then they get people to give them money. And so they're still in the business of making money, but they're led by helping people. As an entrepreneur in business, you're there to make money and help people. A lot of people forget the helping bit though. So they're focused on how do I charge the most and my costs are the least, and just sell a bunch of random crap. But the most successful long-term businesses, there's a value exchange that's going on. They're making money because they're doing it intelligently, and they're doing it in a loop where it's not just an endless drain of the money that they get. They reinvest it into things that make them more money. Whereas charities always need somebody to keep giving them money, because where the money's going doesn't provide a monetary return. It provides a spiritual return, but doesn't provide a monetary return. So they constantly it's a drain. But a pure business is a return. There's only a return because value is being exchanged. I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
more for you than what you're giving to me, and then I run it intelligently by taking a complex and making it simple. And the third element, which is solving problems, so that I can reinvest and keep doing that. So the third part to it is solving problems. Um, I've coached over 1,000 business owners at this point. I sort of stopped counting a while ago, and they've grown by 300 million. Same thing. I sort of stopped counting. But the only way that I could have done that is by
Mhm.
being aware of the problems and then solving them in my own business and in
Mhm.
theirs. And the only way that they could have grown is by being aware of the problems in their business and their customer and then solving them. And the clients that got the most stuck were the ones that felt like there should be no problems. But if you're in a business that has no problems, then it's dying. If you're like, things are
Mhm.
so good, like there's no issues, I would be very
Mhm.
concerned about that business because it means that pressure's not being put in the right places. Like it
Mhm.
shouldn't, there are, I don't want to go too deep here. There's three kinds of problems. It's like normal problems, abnormal problems, and pathologic problems. If you have had a
Uh-huh.
business for 5 years and you have a cash flow problem, that's pathologic. That's not normal. But if your business started and it's the first 12 months and it has cash flow problems, that's a normal problem. Do you understand the difference?
Mhm.
Like certain problems
Yep.
are normal and other problems are not normal, and it's because of leadership or a bad business model. Your business should always be having normal problems, meaning I don't have enough leads um,
Mhm.
because I've just hired my 150th salesperson, and we now need to ramp our marketing up because there's a vacuum. So I get more leads from my salespeople, right? And now we're getting so many sales that we need more, client success team members, coaches, consultants, whatever. There's now a need to hire them. So the vacuum. So then I hire more coaches, and then as I hire more coaches, um, now I need more salespeople because there's a vacuum, and then now I need more leads because there's a vacuum. So I could be wrong. From my perspective, um, you're always trying to, uh, you're always trying to create problems by solving problems.
Mhm.
It's an open and closed loop
Mhm.
system, right?
Yep.
I get more sales, I got to hire this person. And so if you have no problems, like things are great, then the problem that you have is that inflation is eating your dollar up. Your competition's taking
Mhm.
market share. You're not innovating. And so you're already on the dying path, you just haven't realized it. Blockbuster is a great example of that. Things are great,
Mhm.
business is crushing it. They didn't notice the problem that people didn't want to go down to the store and get DVDs, and that Netflix and the internet was coming for them. And then they didn't adapt. I don't know if you know the story. Blockbuster, Netflix, I think, went to Blockbuster and was like, hey, do you want to buy us for like 50 million? And they're like, nah, no one wants to do this. And then, sure enough, Blockbuster doesn't exist. And now they're like an Airbnb thing that you can go and stay in an old bit, Blockbuster,
Yeah.
because
I
they
think
didn't
something.
accept that there's
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah, yeah. I think there is a podcast about those type of things, right? Like the business wars or something like that. I don't know if
Mm.
you've been listening to that or where you get it from, but yeah,
Yeah.
they are literally like breaking out those type of like those business wars basically that they've been about the marketing industry, the leaders basically they've been like how they become the leader and so on. It's like it's really interesting
Really,
actually.
really quick, I just want to circle back to your first question. This is another
Yeah,
good thing I think that people need to
yeah.
take away is that once I accepted that problems are opportunities, and I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't just telling myself that to try and be positive, but I like understood and got it like problems are opportunities. I was in a perpetual cycle of trying to avoid problems, which is why I was unhappy and unsuccessful. Once I realized that problems, and I felt it in my soul, problems are opportunities. This is happening
Mm-hmm.
for me, not to me, as Tony Robbins says. I was able to go, so when there is this issue, what is the growth opportunity in this? What am I going to learn from this? If I solve this, what value am I going to receive? I started looking for problems, like looking for things that are not working so I can make them better, and then prioritizing my problems. So it's kind of like there's a whole lot of problems. Now I have the problem of determining which problem I need to focus on, right? And so all of that was this realization of the size and opportunity of the problem is going to create the value for me in my life. Whether that is like, how do I get in touch with this person? How do I don't know, fix my weight issues or whatever? Like, find the problem and then crush it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my advice. Is the
Yeah,
thing that holds most people back is the avoidance of problems rather than looking at them as opportunities and then getting really, really fucking good at solving problems. Because if you can do that,
why
you'll
do you
always be valuable.
why do you think it's that like people are avoiding those like problems?
Because they've been told that problems are bad and that a good life is one without problems. But they don't understand that. avoiding problems to try and be happy instead of just getting stronger so that you can deal with the problems is the fastest way to unhappiness, because there's always going to be bigger problems and more of them, and the only person who doesn't have problems is the one who's dead. So welcome in the
That's
problems,
crazy. Oh my
get
gosh. Yeah.
strong, deal with the problems. Like life gets better the stronger you are, the healthier you are, the fitter you are. Um,
Yeah.
and that only happens from being able to solve those problems and loving it. Like
Yeah.
life sucks. We start in this game. There's no restarts. There's no load screens. And then we're all gonna die. So
Hmm.
you only have one shot, one opportunity to be lame, to make something of it. And I think that there's a really powerful quote that I like. It's like a man has what is it? A man has two lives, and the second one starts once he realizes he only has one. I've got kids,
Ooh, that's
and
good.
that happened for me too. It's like, oh man, I'm halfway to 70. I'm 35 in like 2 months. I'm halfway to 70. And I'm like,
That's so
damn.
crazy
And
to look at this way. Also,
yeah,
like, oh my gosh, when you think about it, I have on my Chrome basically like a Chrome plugin where it's actually like how many Sundays or something like that you have like left. If you
yeah,
open your tab, you can see like it's pushing me a little bit like you freaking do the thing.
yeah,
You know what I mean? But
yeah.
it's like, yeah, when you're talking about it, it's like it's really about the mindset and how we've been programmed since the beginning. Like if you think about it, like everything what we do in a certain time and like food what we eat, like how we behave in front of other people, how we like communicate, everything, like all the our hobbies and it's pretty much everything is programming. How we've been like somehow we've been programmed by society, by our parents, by our teachers, by any like everybody who has
Mm,
some type of influence program us this to operate this way. So
yeah.
if something doesn't work, like for you, for your goals, that's another thing. Like we have to really clearly design or like where we gonna go, because without the goal we are unable to even like move to the right direction. And so but when we have the goal, we can start figuring out what programming
Mm,
like doesn't serve us, right? And
yeah. I
how
think,
we what we should change.
yeah. I think that I think goals allow you to have a direction.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's very easy to set goals. Everyone's going to set goals in like so the 23rd for me. So what's that? 8 days. Everyone's going to set goals. 9 days maybe for you, wherever you are. Everyone's going to set a whole lot of goals, and they're going to do nothing about it. And the reason they're going to do nothing about it is because anyone can have a goal. What
Mm-hmm.
determines whether you achieve it or not is how much meaning there is for you to reach it. Like, why does that goal matter? Goal is just the
Mm-hmm.
target, it's the direction. I'm going to go over there. Why am I going to go over there?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it just might be
Mm-hmm.
nice. Probably the moment that it's
Yeah,
mildly
yeah.
difficult, you're going to stop. And so the most important thing is to have really strong reasons why. Because anyone can set a goal. Now, without a goal, you're not going to do anything because you've got no direction to go in. So you've got to have a goal. It's the tip of the spear. But what makes a spear actually work is the weight of the handle that you can
Yes,
thrust it, right?
yes.
So you've got to have really strong reasons why you must get it. Who are you going to become in pursuit of the goal? Who are you going to be for yourself? Who are you going to be for others? What's it going to matter to you? What's going to matter to others? Um, why must you have this? Why must you get there? Like the easy
Yeah,
example is
yeah.
I'm going to climb into a burning building with razor wire and alligators all around um, because there's a $5 note in there. And it's like, no, probably not, right? But if my child's in
Yep.
there, I probably am. A good example of this was a kid fell off a balcony on a Disney cruise, and the dad jumped in the water afterwards, and
Mm-hmm.
to save the daughter, and they tread water for 20 minutes, and I forgot the quote, but basically he was like, um, uh, he was surprised that they got saved, which meant that
Mm,
he literally jumped off the boat to comfort his
wow.
daughter while they both died. And that's real. Like
Mm,
as a parent, that's real. And I wrestle with that constantly. I'm like, oh God, like if something happens, I'm gonna have to go over. I've already thought about this.
mm-hmm.
I don't want to take my kids on a cruise ship. I've
Mm-hmm.
always thought about it. I was like, I'm gonna have to go over. Why? Because the meaning of ensuring that my child feels as safe as possible in that matters more to
Mm-hmm.
me than anything else. So the result is the goal is clear. Jump.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Now the third part to this is the how, right? So everyone asks like, how do I achieve my result? The problem with a how based question is it presupposes that you have the knowledge to be able to answer it. So if it's like, how do I make $1 million? If you knew how, you'd already be doing it. So inherently, you're setting yourself up for failure because you're like, goal, $1 million. Why? Super important to my family, super important to me. I'm going to be able to save people. I'm going to do all these powerful reasons why. And then you go, so how do I do it? And you're like, fuck. Because if you knew how, you'd already go and do it. So you start getting stressed out, and then you can't figure it out. I found that the best thing to do is not ask how am I going to do something, but ask what has to happen. So like, I want to make $1 million. I know why, all these strong reasons. I'm driven. So what has to happen for me to make $1 million? And by when, by the way. So you got to make sure you got a good goal. It's like, what do I want by when? You know what I mean? And then that's got to be realistic, etc. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
you say, what has to happen? Well, one person has to give me $1 million, or 1,000 people can give me $1,000, or 1,000,000 people can give me $1, right? And I look at it and I go, okay, so what would have to happen for a person to give me $1,000? Well, I'd have to create more than $1,000 worth of value, probably 10 times the value. Okay, so what problem could I solve that I could charge $1,000 for, that somebody would immediately say yes because it was an immense amount of value, and then I just got to go and do that 1,000 times? What would have to happen for me to be in conversation? Like, who is that person, firstly, right? And then what would have to happen for me to be in conversation with that person? What would I have to say? What would I have to do? Not how do I get them to say yes? What would I have to do for them to say
Yeah.
yes? And so when you switch from how to a what based question, or who, like who can show me, or what do I have to do? Suddenly it gets as simple as like, open up this thing, it's called a laptop, like push the button and then go to this place called Facebook and go and find dentists, and then like send them a message that says, hey, I saw on your website that this is missing. I wanted to build this for you and get you a whole lot of clients. And then once it works, we can then talk about if you want to, keep it going, and then we can come up with some kind of arrangement for money. And you just go and send 1,000 of those and get one reply, and then get one client. You made $1,000. And then what would have to happen so I can make that more efficient? Well, I take $1,000, I go and pay some people in the Philippines to do the exact same thing for me through my account. Now I'm getting 2 sales a month. Great. And you just extrapolate. And then you learn to
Yeah.
solve and make it less complicated, etc. So, point of my story is like, anybody listen to this, this was the one thing that changed for me, is looking for
Yeah.
problems and
It's
then asking
awesome.
what has to happen, right? And being clear on what I want, why I want it, and then what has to happen. Tony Robbins talks about it as RPM system: result, purpose, and then massive action plan. Because there's a million things you can do to make $1 million.
Yeah.
But the thing that
Totally.
works
Totally.
is the thing that you stick to.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's what I wanted to say. Like, how many people actually will do something like that? And the reason, probably based on what you said, is because they don't have strong why. Then.
That's the biggest reason. Because again, gun to your head, go and make $1,000. Like, or you might be
Exactly.
like, nah,
Yeah.
shoot me, I
Yeah.
don't care. Gun to your
Yeah.
dog's head, gun to your mum's head. Something. Tony talks about leverage. You can't influence somebody until you know what influences them, and then you create leverage over it. And so you've got to know what influences you. So for me, it's my kids. It's not me. Like, I don't really want. I could live in a van. I'd probably be pretty happy. Like, for my kids, I've got to have. We have a private tutor that travels with us, right? We're going to Japan in like 3 months, or sorry, in like 6 weeks, and we're going to stay there for 3 months. And the kids are going to go skiing. I got to have money to give them experiences and teach them things and whatever, right? So for me, the thing that influences me is my kids and my family. I got to buy my wife nice things, right? And so that creates that influences me. So then I get leverage over myself to make sure that I'm always aligning what I think I want to do with the thing that matters, so that I go and do it. Yeah, I'll let you ask me another question, otherwise I'll go on forever.
No, no, that's cool. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, no, no, totally. Like, I love this topic because, like, when I don't think that there is enough of talk about this.
Mm,
Like, because, like, and like, if you think about it, like, even now, I'm still coming back to this, like, to what you just said, like, pretty much every day. Right, I'm
mm,
literally like, I have my morning routine, and I'm like literally going, like, have affirmation, like exercising and all of that, and basically like meditation, and so, and like, this is the way like I'm starting my day, and I okay, so what is the reason why? Because like the correct like the correct way to do it is you have to literally
Mm,
ask yourself all the time what is the reason, and you have to always remind yourself and literally live it to be able to accomplish the goals, because like there are so many different distractions that can happen during the day. And I've been actually listening like one of the podcast episode in, if you know, the Diary of CEO, I think. And
mm.
there was a guy talking about like how the most successful entrepreneurs are literally driven um by signals. Like the most successful people are driven like 80% of the day they are focusing on signals, signals, signals.
Yeah,
No
signals versus
distraction,
noise.
just
Mm.
yeah, and
Well,
everything
just
else is
more.
not.
Well, more than that, what that my interpretation of that is it's not just avoidance of obvious distractions. It's not even that. It's
Hmm.
really just identifying if I'm heading in this
Managing it.
direction and I'm trying to
Uh-huh.
get to where I want to go and I'm using a little device to detect it. I'm looking for the
Hmm.
signal that tells me that I'm heading in the right direction. So if I'm
Right. Yeah.
like if I'm trying to find the thing, I'm looking for the signal that says yes, I'm close. Like a metal detector. When you go past it,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
beeps
Yeah.
and you go, oh, and then you go
Hmm.
big swipes and then you go smaller swipes until you find exactly where it is and then you get it out of the pocket.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's the signal. It's the beeping noise. You're moving
Ooh,
shit
that's
around,
really
and then
good.
you're like,
Yeah.
there's a beep. Okay, let me do it
Yeah.
again. But this time I know it was kind of over here, so I'm smaller and smaller until I can find it. So what
Hmm.
most people don't do is they don't firstly do broad enough sweeps. They just go,
Hmm.
I don't want to look like a dickhead. I don't want to be, I don't want to be seen as whatever.
But
So
that
I'm gonna
comes with
go,
insecurities, right?
yeah. So they go, oh, I'll go swipe like this, and then they're like, shit, I didn't find it. Well, it's just you're lucky, and that's why it's bullshit. I got to be
Yep.
born like this and
Yep.
whatever. And it's like, no, you got to go and do lots of stuff. And then when you go and do a bunch of random stuff, it doesn't have to be random. You can think about it, but like random stuff. And then you go, I heard a noise, and I was kind of in this direction. I'm like, okay, so let me go do some more stuff. And then
Hmm.
as you go and do more and more stuff, you start to find what's working. And so the signal versus noise for your
Hmm.
listeners is if I know what I want and I'm heading in that direction and I know why I want it, I'm clear on it, then I must look for the beep, the the
Hmm.
the the reflection, the noise that says I'm heading in the right direction. So signal
Hmm.
is if I look at my entire task list and my entire calendar, what's the 1 to 3 things in order of priority that if I achieve those things today, it's most likely to move me in the direction that I want to go.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
a lot of people go on podcasts because they're like, it'll be good to be known. But really, like I spent 10 years doing nothing because it was like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna go and do the thing that makes me money. And then when I've done something, I can go and talk about it. Like Alex Hormozi is not famous because he did a lot of podcasts.
Hmm.
He's famous because he did a lot of shit. He proved himself and then he was like, hey. And then everyone was like, yeah, come on the podcast. And then in doing so, more people saw him and then he got onto more podcasts because he was actually good at what he did. And there's obviously a route where you can hardcore commit to. I'm not, shitting on podcasts here, uh, but like
It's
there's a
okay.
route where you can just purposefully go and get attention. Like Jake Paul did
Yeah.
that, right? Attention for attention's sake. Once he had attention, he then was able to sell things through that
Hmm.
attention. But in both of those examples, commitment was what it was. Alex
Oh, totally.
Hormozi didn't dabble in
100%.
content. He did it or he didn't do it. And Jake didn't dabble in content or business. He didn't do business. He just went full in on content and then started to monetize. And so the key here is signal versus noise. What are you going after? Alex is going after
Hmm.
business success. So making content is a distraction unless it's getting him leads and sales. Jake Paul is going after reach and audience size. So doing business stuff is distracting him from doing his content. So he's going to get back into the signal of going and doing the content because their direction was clear, their reason why was clear, and then they could take the right action. Both of them work, like I said before, but it's the commitment to doing it, the signal rather than noise.
Hmm.
Should I be doing AI thing here? Should I be doing this thing over here? It's like, no. I should be solving the problems that focusing on the signal that gets me to where I want to go, which I've defined and I've committed to, and I'm willing to do for the next 10 years. Like if you're not in on this for 10 years, it's like don't do it because it's not going to work in a year. It's not going to work probably in 3 years, 5 years. Joe Rogan was unknown for ages and then
Yeah.
he became known and everyone's like, oh my God, Joe Rogan. It's like, dude was podcasting for like 10 or 15 years or something beforehand. I don't know the specifics, but I know it
It's crazy.
was a long time.
I'm listening some of his podcasts. It's like freaking 2,300 episodes or something like that. Like
Mm.
2,400 episodes. It's
Because
really
he knew
interesting.
why he was doing it. He was not doing it
Yeah,
for the sake of podcasting. He knew why. He had a reason which allowed him to just commit to doing it without distraction. His signal was whatever it was. I like interviewing people and talking to people. I have fun with this. And then his guests just got better as he got more awareness, more people willing to go on
yeah,
his show. Hormozi did the same thing. Jake's done the same thing with boxing, right? Fought Anthony Joshua recently. No matter how much you hate him, the dude's going to be a billionaire but before he's 30, and he's very good at stacking. There's this concept, I forgot who taught it to me. I think it was Evan Carmichael or something. It's like you pull on the coattail of the person in front of you. So if I want to interview Trump, I don't go and approach Trump. I can, but it's probably going to be a waste of time. What I want to do is go and know who I can interview that knows someone who knows Trump.
hmm
And then I go through and I interview that person, and then I hit up that person's friends. I'm like, dude, I interviewed so and so. I'd love to get your thoughts on this. Come on the show. And then you just keep stacking them until you finally hit a big
so
fish that
good.
gets you to that next
Yeah,
place. It's how I had like Brad Lee and um, Brandon Dawson and Neil Patel and Kerwin Ray and all these guys when I was running my show was that same thing. The reason I stopped was I didn't have, this is a great example, I didn't have the reasons why to continue. So I had killer guests, people loved listening to what I was doing, but I didn't keep going because I wasn't clear on my result and
hmm
I didn't have strong enough reasons why. So it just fizzled out because I was like, it's a distraction. And so for me in that season, it was a distraction. Now, had I committed to it, I'd probably be interviewing Hormozi and Jake Paul now because this is like 3 years later. And if I'd have kept going the way that it was going with who I had, we would have been naturally doing that. But there wasn't a reason. Now I can go and
yeah,
beat myself up about that, or I can understand now, which is where I'm going to be relaunching our show and doing some other stuff because I now know what and I know why, so I can actually commit to it. Does that make sense?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally, totally. That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. And I love the
Mm.
example because, like, um, you also like how long ago you started your business? Did you have kids already? What was your first reason why? Like, real strong reason why before
Good
kids, even?
question. So I uh, graduated at 23, something like that. Um, 2013, and I started
hmm
working in a practice, and it wasn't going very well, and we were going to chase a bigger money overseas, and then we ended up buying the practice that we were in for not very much money through a loan from my mother-in-law because practice wasn't doing well. It was basically buying my patients that I already had there, and so I said we were looking at traveling and going overseas, and I said no, I think that we can do this ourselves. Um,
hmm
and I convinced my wife, and then we did it, and we ended up paying for some mentoring. We tripled the practice in 3 months, and then 8 months later, we had a second practice, and then we'd done $1 million within 2 years, and we kind of just progressed from there. The reason why was because I had to figure out how to not be broke. Like my commitment in my mind was,
hmm
I will not be broke anymore.
hmm
We couldn't afford chicken um, to get good protein. It was not good, and so there was this commitment. I was like, I must figure out how to make money. Now that scarcity gave me the initial drive. It's like, how do you get a donkey to move?
hmm
If it's got carrots and it's comfortable, then putting a carrot in front of its face is not going to work.
Yep.
You got to get leverage. If
hmm
you whack it with a stick, the donkey starts to move. But if you keep
hmm
hitting the donkey with a stick, it'll eventually stop moving because reward, punishment. If I hit you with a stick, punishment, you move forward, reward, away from the pain, right? Um,
hmm
it's called a positive punishment. I'm giving something, and then there's a negative reward,
So
basically
you
meaning
need
I'm
both
taking
of them.
away pain.
You're trying to say, yeah, you're trying to say to have both
You
of them.
need both. Yep, but what
hmm
happens is if you just whack with a stick, at some point the donkey says, screw this. Like, no matter what I do, I keep getting hit with the stick. So I'll just
Yeah,
stay
yeah.
there and get hit with a stick. They did studies on dogs where they would electrocute the floor. The dog would jump over the fence to the other area. And then all they did was start electrocuting the dog every time it jumped over as well. And then eventually the dog just sat there and got electrocuted because it was like, why? Why jump? Because I'm just going to get electrocuted
It's
again.
nothing. Yeah.
So what I realized in that, my interpretation is, um, unless you have strong reasons why and meaning behind what you're doing and you can see the vision beyond the pain, you will quit
Mm-hmm.
because at some point you say, why am I doing this? Now,
Mm-hmm.
everyone has a tolerance level to that. So some people, they just keep experiencing punishment and they're like, this is great. I can keep going. I keep going. But everyone will quit. They say this with torture, like everyone breaks, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Everyone breaks. Um,
Totally.
there's some super freak who never breaks, but like statistically, everyone breaks. So how do you keep going? You've got to have something positive in front of you, not just
Mm-hmm.
negative. And so for me, because I was focused on not being broke, I wasn't focused on creating abundance. It meant that
Mm-hmm.
there was never enough where I felt like I had made it. And so I
Mm-hmm.
was perpetually in scarcity. Clients are going to leave, marketing's going to stop, this is all going to fall apart. And so for literally almost 10 years, it was like this could go away until I started realizing, okay, well, if it did go away, I'd probably just go work in sales for somebody else and do really well. And if that didn't work, I'd probably just go be a bank manager or something. Like I
Mm-hmm.
amassed so many skills that I realized that I can solve almost any problem if I put my mind to it because I had evidence, I had proof because I'd gone and done it. And then once I had got really into the Tony Robbins world and started focusing on the art of fulfillment, once I realized like there's more to life than just achieving things, um,
Mm-hmm.
it sparked a new energy in me to solve different kinds of problems that weren't
Mm-hmm.
scarcity based problems where I didn't have enough. It
Right.
was more like how do I create more so I can give more, I can be more, I can do more, I can have more, rather than
Mm-hmm.
I don't have enough and I need to go and get some, which is short term thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
point of my I forgot that my train of thought here. Point of my story is if you if you whack the donkey only and you're the donkey, you will eventually just quit because there's no positive benefit to it. So use pain to get you going, but then you've got to have something more than the pain to keep you going. You've got to have something that pulls you towards it.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me,
Mm-hmm.
um, at the start was like, how do I just make money, not be broke? And now it's transition. I had kids in 2019. That's what, again, another pain sparked me to go online and create more leverage for myself. But it wasn't until in the last like 2 years has there been a dramatic transformation towards more of having more, not just getting away from pain. And since then, more opportunities presented. I've got a
Mm-hmm.
call after this where I'm talking with someone who they save girls from sex trafficking, and we're looking at how can we get our software LearnSpark, which is a um, we're calling it like Copilot for educators. It's an AI powered platform that does lesson planning and progress tracking for kids and everything like that for educators, parents, teachers, whoever, to be able to get better results with their students and keep them more engaged and whatnot without giving them a tablet.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually powering the educator. How can we get that
Totally, totally.
to
Yeah, that's a
these
big topic
people to help them?
to talk.
You know?
Yeah, yeah. This is big topic too, also to talk about. Like literally, when it comes to how many times I see like when you just going for shopping or whatever, like parents literally like giving their kids like 5 years old, not even that sometimes,
Mm,
literally like tablet, and they're like freaking on the screen all day long, like crazy to me. I
mm,
don't know how people can do that. Like, yeah, there are things like, yeah, parents are busy, or she's a mom of five, and then like, but yeah, well, if you cannot, like, I get it, life happens, but like, you have to, if you want to have 5 kids, you have to still be able to take care of them. Like, even though something happened, you have to have the plan there. Like, like
mm.
it's insane to me, like being on on salary basically, and then like having 5 kids, and like, okay, like hopefully we're not going to break up with my partner, so I'm hopefully like not going to end up by myself, and then I don't like, do you know what I'm coming, like, going with that?
My opinion on that, honestly, is that people have the um, lost the how do I put it? Lost the perspective that relationships, marriage is for life, and that if you're
Mm-hmm.
committed to being the best version of yourself for
Mm-hmm.
your partner, then it invites your partner to be the best version of themselves for you. And so we focus on what the other person's not doing instead of what we are doing. And that's what breaks relationships down, where you're like at the start of a relationship, the things that you put up with and think are cute are the same things that later on you bitch about. It's like you
Mm,
ladies, you go for the man who's driven, right? Because you're like, oh my God, he's going to create a future and this is, this is sexy. And then it becomes annoying how driven he is. Why can't he just sit still? It's like, you chose him for this. Or guys, you chose someone who you thought was driven or beautiful or whatever, and then that thing annoys you later on because guys are approaching them all the time or they're always busy, and it's like this is why you chose them, right? And so
mhm,
for me, I've been with my wife for 14 years or something, and we have two kids, and we run multiple businesses together, and we do everything together. We're at home 24/7. We travel, like there's constant problems that most people wouldn't be able to handle. The only reason we can is because we made a commitment to be our individual best and then bring that best to the relationship. Because two people who are 50% doesn't make 100%. You
mhm,
can't have two broken people and make it good. You've got to have two people who are good that make it even better. The whole point of a partnership is to make it even better. People do this in business too. You're like, oh, I suck, and so now I need to find someone so that I don't suck. And then no one wants to work with someone who sucks. So the only person who does is someone else who sucks. And so you have two people who suck trying to not suck. And it's like, no, no, you got to be good. You got to know what you're good at. And yes, there's people who
yeah.
are better than you, but just don't suck, and then expect someone to actually be any good to partner with you. Like, work on you, learn, watch shit, read shit, like get good, and then find someone who's also trying to get good, and then come together and be even better. And so to that
Ooh,
situation, I think that there's different perspectives. A lot of people they have kids, and some people look at it, but I think I don't know how old you are, but this generation, uh, at least, or this current season of the culture, is very me focused and very like why have kids and whatever. My first $1 million, um, well, rephrase my first business that made $1 million within 8 months when I launched it came right after having a kid because it never gave me more
mm,
drive than
yeah,
having other people dependent on me. I was like, I
yeah.
must make this work. Reasons. So within 8 months, I made $1 million. Was sorry on $1 million run rate. Um, and within 2 months, I'd made 100 grand cash. And because I said to my wife, "Can I quit if I make 100 grand?" She said, "Yes." Made 100 grand in 2 months, and I was like, "Can I quit?" And she's like, "No," because we had businesses to run. And so I said, "Okay." Well, so then I became committed to like figuring it out so I could get out.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and other businesses that I started where I didn't have a reason, there was no stick and there was no carrot. It just kind of fizzles out, right? So, the
Mm,
point of my story is I think that um, not everyone is going to go down the business route and make money route and then have kids. And I don't think that you should. I think you should have kids in your mid 20s
mhm.
with someone that you're committed to because it prevents the distraction. I saw this interesting thing on uh,
That's really interesting. Yeah.
the most successful people all have a bunch of kids. Have you know? I don't know if you noticed this. Most
No,
really successful
no,
people have
not
a bunch of
really.
kids. Um,
Uh-huh.
so I saw this thing online yesterday on Instagram. It was like, what if she's like, what if you had an OnlyFans, but you had one fan who like protected you, loved you, provided for you, you know, and you just had to have one fan. Like, wouldn't that be crazy? And she was obviously mocking, and it was like, yeah, your husband should be your only fan. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you'd be able to go and do more. And I think that for me, why I find that funny is because that's the truth. It's like I have an OnlyFans, and her name is Delcy, and she's my wife, and we build shit together, and we have kids, and we want to have more, and we want to go and do stuff because life's short, and I'm halfway to 70. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that.
That's all. That's really cool. I love it. Um, yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being here, my brother. That was amazing to have you here and like just having this conversation. Like we could go on, and you are awesome. So,
Thank you.
to end this conversation, with just let me like where people can find you to to start follow you or like support you.
Yeah. If you want to see what I'm up to and see what our family's doing, we travel the world full time, and we live in between sort of 6 and 8 countries a year. This year we did 8 countries in 18 cities. I've got a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, and a small portfolio of companies. And if you want to follow what I'm up to, check out some of the things that I talk about and business and life and things, you can go to my website. It's neilsonwatt.com, same as my name, neilsonwatt.com. And if you are a parent and you're thinking about doing some travel, or you're thinking about taking your kids out of structured learning, which is propagandizing your kids, we've built a platform which is completely free. It's called LearnSpark, and it will help you to be able to create lessons, track your child's progress. You can upload your own curriculum, and we're partnering with some amazing people that are helping underprivileged kids and families to get education to them. So follow me online, and you'll see me post about this very soon. But currently, you can get in there and you can start using the platform. And then we're going to be ramping it up over the next 12 months. So very excited for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, brother. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye now.